All right, everyone. It is Old Dominion week, Wednesday night. Jumping on the pod, Sons of Saturday. We got Billy Ray up there in Optimist Park. Pat Finn down here in Myers Park. Look at that. I didn't even realize we were both hanging out in the park.
The Park Kids.
We're going to talk about the Old Dominion game. Saturday, 6 o'clock, ESPN Plus. Big day for all ESPN Plus subscription holders. How are you, Billy Ray? How's your week?
I'm good. Week's going good. I really feel like we were pretty bummed out on the last pod, rightfully so. And it all kind of culminates into an opportunity to exercise some demons here against Old Dominion. I'm not sure. This might be a little premature, but why don't we start with it? Like, what is your worried meter? It's Wednesday. Like, where are you on your I'm concerned about this football game? Like, where does your stomach hurt? Are you considering the possibility of anything other than a resounding Virginia Tech win? Like where are you?
I am I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible to lose to a team that's in the G5 3 years in a row at their own stadium.
Yeah, that would be
like,
awful.
If Pat Finn is jinxing the Virginia Tech football team right now, I'm sorry. That's dumb luck. This team cannot go and lose on Saturday.
No,
it's just not. I don't think it's possible.
It's an unlosable game. We're going to get into it. We're going to break it down. But I feel good. In live time, I took Virginia Tech minus 13.5 yesterday.
Good value.
You watched it happen. It has now jumped to 14.5 or 15, depending on what book you're on. But back to your regularly scheduled programming. We're going to jump in with a Hokie haiku here. And a first-time appearer, Common Make, who started off as a real detractor from the Hokie haiku, but he's jumped on. He's on board now. Wow. He says, enough already. Win now. End it with a V. Then beat the Big East. Pretty good. Pretty good. Then we had Pete McGee, who submitted two, and they were very similar. This is the first one. It's please, 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 please win this stupid away game. I am begging you. We all are begging you. I agree, Pete McGee. Well done. Virginia Tech versus Old Dominion. Pat, what do you got?
I am begging you. I know we talked about this over the summertime, and I'm just going to jump in right now.
Yeah, please.
Because it works very well with Pete McGee's haiku. Win this stupid away game is what he said. And how many Virginia Tech fans could you identify that said, hey, this is a good game. This is good that we play this game. Every other year, we go to play at ODU. This is not a game that we should be playing. This game has zero upside. Just like playing at ECU so many times had zero upside. Damned if you beat them, damned if you lose to them. If you beat them, it's what you were supposed to do. If you lose to them, congratulations, you are making headlines for the out of conference for the ACC. There's no upside to this football game. We went there in 2022. We'll get in the Hokie history, but it was an extremely unpleasant experience for a lot of people who were in attendance. It was extremely unpleasant for our staff members who got stuck in the elevator. Was this a locker room vandalizing game, or was this?
No, I think they had their stuff stolen at a locker room in 2022.
A lot went wrong in 2022, the last time we were at this stadium. We got to stop. We just got to stop playing these games. We can't be going to Marshall. We can't be going to ECU. We can't be going to Liberty. We can't be going to Old Dominion. There is no reason to do this. No. I would rather go to Vanderbilt and what happened in Vanderbilt than lose another game to a G5 opponent on the road. Yeah. Whatever coach needs to do to motivate these guys to make sure that we are not making headlines again for losing to a G5 team on the road, please have this team ready.
Well said. Well said.
Like it is torture as a football fan. It is torture as a Virginia Tech fan to have seen us lose these games over the last few years.
Yeah,
and I am so sick of it. We used our ridiculous loss credit already. We did it week 1. We can't do it twice in September, or I will literally freak out.
I've never seen you like this. I'm happy to see you like this. If you want to watch the game, it's at 6:00 on ESPN Plus.
I feel the heat. I feel the heat just rising.
It's a tough situation. We can jump into Hokie history here, real quick. As unfortunate as this is to read, the series is 2-3, 3-2. We're winning the series. Are we winning the series? We might be losing the series.
No. We're winning.
We're winning the series. No team has won back-to-back games. The fact that even needs to be a did I get this wrong on the notes here? But yes, no team has won back-to-back games. This started in 2017. It is an aberration. Other teams play like one game at other schools, but this long deal is bad. Tech tried to get out of it this year, from what I understand, but I feel like we beat it to death in the beginning. It deserved to be beaten to death, but that is the situation. We need to break this back-to-back streak. We have no business losing to ODU ever, period. And we've done it twice. So, yeah.
I mean, 2018, who was the quarterback for
he's some preacher guy.
Yeah, he was in Blake something. I think his name was Blake. And he threw for like 5 touchdowns and they scored 49 points on our defense. 2018, tough defense.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the Josh Jackson game where he broke his leg. We lost 49-35 in 2018.
Oh my God.
I was at a wedding in Richmond. Eric Daly and Amanda Paw got married that day. And Josh Little, seconds before having to give his best man speech, is finding out the final score. Oh my God. We just lost Old Dominion.
Couple things on that game, because I just pulled up the box score for, I don't know if you can call it for fun, but for vibes. ODU scored 28 points in the fourth quarter of that football game, which is wild to think about. It was Blake LaRussa. He was 30 for 49, 495, and 4 touchdowns.
So yeah, 2018 was awful. That ruined the season. 2019, I don't think we did play them in 2019. It was kind of a back and forth game. Was that the game that Kuma came back?
Kuma came back, put out a highlight reel coming out of the tunnel. Would have done the same thing. So I'm not slighting, but yes, came back to Lane Stadium. We handled business. It just was weird, man. I mean, we had the, Kuma transfers, Cunningham transfers. We're in the middle of kind of the, I want to call it like the 7th or 8th inning of the Fuente tenure. And this is, I don't know, man. Like I view this game as exercising a ton of demons. I don't feel great coming out of the Marshall game. The score was kind of what I anticipated it being, but the product didn't look great. And here we are playing a group of 5 team in state on the road. And I'm really hoping that we handle business. It doesn't happen on LSU podcasts. This is actually funny because I think they almost lost them a couple years ago. But LSU's not getting on a podcast and being like, dude, we got Louisiana Lafayette coming up in 2 weeks. I really hope we handle business. By the way, we're playing them in Lafayette. It's just not a conversation that Sons of Louisiana are having.
I guess what kind of stinks about this game is that other than the inaugural game, 2017, where we took care of business, we destroyed them 38-0. This has been a close game every single time out.
Mm-hmm.
We lost by 2 scores in 2018. We beat them 31-17 in 2019. So that's, pretty narrower than the Marshall game last week. We go there in 2022, have the special teams blunder, can't contain Ollie Jennings to save our lives. And then last year, last year wasn't a close game. We beat them 19 points, 36-17. The only
It
thing
wasn't
they
like a
could really,
resounding win.
the
But,
only thing they could really, I think we covered. The only thing they could really do was just when plays would
scramble.
break down, Grant Wilson scrambled and picked up a few 12-yard runs, but it was never really a football game, other than maybe it was close in the first quarter. So
ACC Network was there.
we had fun. That was a great.
I had a really good time.
It was a great Sandman. Ollie Jennings, 2 touchdowns against his former ball club.
It was also a night game. We were just talking about how weird it is to play a group of 5 school and you leave the stadium and it's dark. We started the game and it was dark against Old Dominion. It was a big game. It was a big game at home.
I understand. A lot of the Richmond and 757 recruits will either be at the game or watching the game, and they know a lot of the players on both teams, and that's important. But Virginia Tech wins this football game. If Virginia Tech wants to be Virginia Tech, Virginia Tech will win this football game.
Mm-hmm.
Old Dominion finished last year. They went 6-7. They did make it to a bowl game. They lost in the famous Toastery Bowl.
Oh my God!
Where is that one played? Do we know?
I couldn't tell you. It's got to be in Middle America, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, somewhere like that is where it sounds like.
It's sounding like it would be in like Birmingham.
It's giving Idaho. Like,
let's see, famous Toastery Bowl. Is this in? Oh my gosh, it's in Charlotte. Is this? Hang on, Jerry Richardson Stadium. This is like the little stadium like right off 277.
Oh, okay.
Anywho,
we should go.
They were in some close games last year. They lost 7 games. 5 of those losses were by 7 points or fewer. We did see them hang pretty tight with South Carolina week 1.
Really great.
Lost by 4 points. Know that they, as far as game management goes, they had some costly turnovers. Grant Wilson fumbled
really quick on that game. Really quick on that game. They outgained South Carolina 305 to 288. They had 4.2 yards per play, but they did turn the ball over 4 times. So,
isn't football a wild thing where
it's pretty crazy.
South Carolina week 1 opens up at home, can barely beat Old Dominion. Mm-hmm. Old Dominion shoots himself in the foot and loses the football game.
Yep.
And then South Carolina goes to Lexington week 2. Got Feinbaum show in there. They're interviewing Kenny and Georgia on the Feinbaum show. And Shane says, I'm going to make a statement and destroy you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And they go ahead and they beat Kentucky 31-6.
Yep.
College football. What else do we have here? They lost to East Carolina last week.
You know what they had last week, Pat? They had 10 penalties last week. They were penalized 10 times. It's not necessarily a winning recipe.
So they've been running a lot this week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll be tired.
Did get defeated 20-14 by East Carolina, despite having a halftime lead. So we don't even know if their quarterback is starting this year or this game. They have a stud linebacker who was in street clothes last week. But let's talk about a few storylines. And I know I feel like this game is more storylines than X's and O's. At least this pregame podcast is. We don't really know that much about them yet at this point of the season. Ricky Ronnie is their head coach. Coach Pry and Ricky Ronnie both have a connected past through the Penn State ecosystem. This is his 5th year at Old Dominion. Virginia Tech has not won at this stadium. Virginia Tech is double-digit favorites again at Old Dominion. At 13.5. The line is now Virginia Tech minus 15, at least on DraftKings when I last looked. This is the Ollie Jennings and Fontel Mines Bowl. We did get Ollie Jennings out of the transfer portal. He did play post West Virginia, where Ollie Jennings started his career. He went to Old Dominion and now is wearing orange and maroon on game day. Fontel Mines was coaching over at Old Dominion as well. We know Coach Mines definitely helped out with getting Ali in Blacksburg. You mentioned Chris Cunningham, Eric Kuma. They both transferred from Virginia Tech to Old Dominion. So this is there's some familiar faces, kind of a little bit similar to the Marshall connections, where you have some folks wearing both colors. This is the 757 game. We're not playing at Norfolk State. We're playing at Old Dominion, where Daquan Felton is from Portsmouth, Keelan Brody Adams, Keonta Jenkins, APR, Kamari Copeland, Gerard Johnson, George Balance. Like, these guys are all from the 757 area. I'm sure we're missing a handful of guys on the roster who are 757 Hokies, but getting a lot of talent out of Green Run High School lately, down there at the beach. Whether it's Cox or Ocean Lakes or Oscar Smith or Green Run, Hampton, the list goes on. There's a lot of talented high school football programs here. A lot of high school talent in the 757 area.
You know what's crazy?
What?
I'm not sure how this point's going to come across. The culture of Blacksburg, Virginia is just so different than like the beach in Virginia. If it was just not in our state, you wouldn't even like consider them the same place. Like if you were an alien and you got dropped down in Blacksburg, Virginia, and then you got dropped down in, the 757, you wouldn't be like, hey, if I was from the 757, I would consider going to Virginia Tech. It's so different. I guess it just speaks to the largeness of Virginia as a state. Maybe that's a crazy just point, but it's wild that those two places are in the same state. I mean, that was probably a throwaway point, but yeah, I'm sure Parsippany is a lot different than, Westwood, New Jersey, but whatever.
It's a big state. Have you seen? Might I recommend you to check out?
Look at a map.
Dude, wait till this guy sees the difference between San Diego and Bakersfield. Yeah. So what else do we have here? We already talked about how we should not be playing this game. Oh, you have a storyline. Their punter leads the nation in punts?
Yeah, he has 15 punts. He's punted more than anybody in the country.
Do you think we could help him continue?
I hope he continues his streak. Let's dive into the offense here. Quarterback is redshirt junior Grant Wilson. He is 42 for 72 for 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He threw for 2,149 yards and 17 touchdowns in 2023. They don't do a very good job of protecting Grant Wilson. He has been sacked 10 times in 2 football games. I'm not sure if you guys saw it on Twitter. There was like a highlight reel of South Carolina's freak defensive end, who's, by the way, a freshman, a true freshman, just absolutely working the tackles for Old Dominion. By the way, they have this guy, Keenan McNally. He's a tackle for Old Dominion. I don't really like singling out people when they play bad, but he has played exceptionally bad. 10 pressures, 4 sacks. This guy is just getting railroaded. So APR, chance to eat. Burgos, chance to eat. Left tackle, hasn't been having a great year so far. So now with this poor protection, I think I have a sneaky suspicion that Grant Wilson might be a little banged up. So I'm just for covering my bases, I'm going to mention that Keenan McNally, Joseph Colton is their backup. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. He's a redshirt freshman from Newport Beach. Now, Grant Wilson, number one, you're going to notice 72 attempts in 2 games, throws the hell out of the ball, just throwing the ball a ton. Offensive coordinator throwing the ball a ton. You're going to see him throw the ball about 50% of the time they take the field. Now, a lot of those throws will not come behind the line of scrimmage, but they will not be further than 10 yards down the field. 50% of their passes are within 0 to 9 yards from the line of scrimmage. The middle of the field will certainly be tested. So number one, we're going to see our linebackers coverage ability. We're going to see a lot of guys in the slot. And this is something just to look out for. They do what I wish we did more, is attack the middle of the football field. So it's going to be interesting. A lot of passing. And coming off of a Vanderbilt team who had a quarterback, I'm not at all going to slight the quarterback. He played a great game, but he was obviously passing challenged. Marshall was awful at throwing the football. So we're going to see somebody throw the football a whole lot against ODU is what I'm predicting. So that's what we will see.
It's not a good offense.
No.
I mean, statistically speaking, again, we have 2 weeks of data, but they rank in the 3-digit mark in several major offensive categories, whether it's success rate on passing plays, success rate on rushing plays, yards per play. They average 3.84 yards per play, which is good for 118th in all of FBS. And 30% of their drives this year have either gained 0 yards or have gone backwards.
Yeah.
It's called this is a Doug Bowman. This man is a data miner. Okay. Yeah. He's got he's got his pickaxe, he's got his headlamp, and he is in the weeds and in the sheets doing all of the data mining and making this easy. But the busted drive rate, that's what it's called, busted drives. It ranks 125th in all of FBS for Old Dominion's offense. So not very good. If our front seven plays well, and if our defensive backs understand the assignment, they shouldn't have that much trouble. We'll see what happens if Grant Wilson does play. He did get sneaky on broken plays last year, getting past the sticks, but there was no real threat on this football team offensively.
Before passing it over to you for wide receivers, number one, Wilson has turned the ball over 5 times, 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles versus South Carolina. Their 2 running backs, Aaron Young and Bryce Duke, who is a Virginia Tech transfer. I know, dude. Bryce Duke. So Aaron Young has 41 carries in 2 games. I'll repeat that. 41 carries in 2 games. I was just talking about how Kyron Drones has 31 carries and Bashal Tutin has 31 carries. This guy has 4. This guy has that plus 10. So he's getting a ton of carries, 3.4 yards per carry. And then Bryce Duke, 11 carries for 4.1 yards per game. Can you talk to me about the wide receivers?
So there are 2 guys, Kelby Williams and Isaiah Page, who have already caught touchdowns this year. There's also, from Kelby Williams' stat sheet from last year, he gets past the sticks. Or if he's not past the sticks, he makes a guy miss. He's good in the yak. But he averaged 17.3 yards per catch last year behind Romello Murphy, who was their leading receiver last year with 502 yards. So they had 2 guys on their team last year who were close to that 502 or 500 yardage mark, but again, not very stout or stealthy. Would be cool to see Bryce Duke have an okay game though.
Yeah. Bryce Duke, a former player of the week for Whitley's player of the week. Speaking of Whitley's, look at your fit. I mean, you're double lettering right now, dude. Tell me about your fit.
I got to shout out my guys at Whitley's. Whitley'sPeanut.com. Established 1986. This is a cool shirt, by the way. Thank you, Brett.
1986, the Mets won the World Series.
Thank you, Smith family. It gets through Buckner. And so shout out to Whitley's Peanut. They're down by the 757. They're down that way. But they have phenomenal peanuts, whether it's what are the turtle clusters? I know they have some epic holiday packs. I have some honey roasted on top of the fridge right now. Whitley's Peanut is the preferred peanut of Virginia Tech athletics. You go into Lane Stadium, you say, hey, can I get some Whitley's? They say, we got you. Go to Whitley'sPeanut.com. Not peanuts, peanut. Whitley'sPeanut.com. Use code TAKE10 for 10% off your order. That's the code, right? Take 10? Is that the one we're running?
Take 10. 10% off your order. It's from our Hot Wings and Hot Takes. It's good for the rest of the month. So
it's a good hat, too.
It's a great hat. It's great people. It's Virginia Tech people. We love it. Support.
They did a great job sponsoring the NIL Slam Jam last year, too. Shout out to our guy. They got the cool mascot, Wit.
They had Hunter Couture dressed up in it. Flipping the page to the defense. Look, you can't talk about Old Dominion without talking about Jason Henderson. He was in street clothes last week. I don't know what his situation is, but he was an All-American last year. I'll repeat that. He was an All-American, first team All-American last year. He had 186 tackles last year. There were some videos out there talking about, did he really make these many tackles? You know, the stat guy. I'm just telling you, the guy's a tackling machine. He had 186 tackles last year. It's the third most ever in FBS single season history, behind Luke Kuechly. Not sure if you ever heard of that guy. And Lawrence Flugents. I haven't heard of that guy from Texas Tech. It's tough. It's tough. He led the second tackle getter by 39 tackles, and he had 18 tackles versus Virginia Tech last year. So I don't know if he's going to play this week, but I am taking my hat off to you. The guy's a ball player, plays his ass off. So shout out to him. I think the biggest area of opportunity, and I'm so glad this is the biggest area of opportunity because it's what I want to see from Virginia Tech, is to run the rock. They've given up 357 yards on the ground in 2 games. Tugboat tootin'. Have an afternoon, my friend. We just saw Rajai Harris. I think I crushed that. Rajai Harris. He rushed for 131 yards against ODU last week and 2 touchdowns. So run the ball, hand it off. Let's set the tone early. That's what I got. What do you got?
South Carolina's Raheem Sanders also scored a touchdown, almost hit that century mark, 88 yards on the ground in week 1. So we should see. I mean, they didn't have a great run defense last year. They were letting up 178.5 rushing yards per game to their opposition in 2023. So this is a good opportunity for the Hokies to hopefully take advantage, especially if Henderson isn't playing. I mean, that guy, 18 tackles against us last year. That's like
pretty good.
Those are some Rico Carney numbers.
Yeah. He's what a throwback.
But I know that their run defense isn't awful. Like, this isn't an awful run defense.
No, but we should be able to. Virginia Tech should be able to run the ball against Old Dominion. Period. Like that. Like, that's the point. That's the whole thing. We're 3 games into this thing, and we're playing against inferior teams. Go out and run the ball. Period. That's my point. You're getting fired up, Pat. You're getting fired up. We got to win this game. We have to win this game. We have to win it convincingly. And that brings us to keys to the game. And here's my thing. You may have read my subtitle on YouTube if you're on YouTube. If you are on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe. But here's my mantra. And it comes from Casey Hamrick. Sack up and beat Old Dominion. Like, that's it. Enough of this nonsense. You know who doesn't have to worry about these games? Ohio State, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida, Florida State. Like, Florida and Florida State, they have their own problems. But these are games that you put on the schedule, and it's supposed to be, Bryce says this all the time, sometimes it's good to just sit on your couch and watch your team win by a lot of points. And this is what this game is supposed to be. When we signed the contract to play this game, which was foolish to go there this many times, we signed the contract saying, you know what? We're going to play you guys at home. We're going to play you on the road, and we're going to beat you by 40 every single time we play you. We haven't held up our end of the bargain on that. And this is what good teams do. They beat the hell out of teams like this. Don't let Marcus Freeman hear that. So how are we going to do it? None of this sluggish stuff. No more. I don't want to hear the team came out sluggish. I don't want to hear that the team had a slow start. I don't want to hear any of that. We're 3 weeks into the season. We got an ultra-talented team. We're playing against a team that we lost to 2 years ago. There should be no slug. 0 slug. The slug rate, 0. No slug. Number 2, exercise the demons. Get it out. Get it out. You know, if some kid beats you up for your lunch money every single year, and then you run into him and you're past puberty and you're bigger than him, you just beat the hell out of the guy who took your lunch money in 5th grade. Maybe he was Italian. Maybe he was, he had a mustache in 5th grade, and then you get to 8th grade and you have a mustache too, and you're bigger than that guy. Well, you're gonna pay him back for some of the stuff that you did. It's crazy we're saying that at Old Dominion, but we are.
It sounds like something happened to Joey Ray in 5th grade.
Not Italian. It's not Michelini. It's Mitchell. Run the ball early and often. Bashal Tootin, hand him the ball. Let's get it right and get a rhythm. Come out of this game. I posted this tweet from Sons of Saturday earlier. I was diving into some pictures from earlier last year. Pittsburgh, Wake Forest, Syracuse, Virginia, all games where we were not the nail. We were the hammer. We came out and we said, we have a swagger about us. We know we're better than you are, and we're going to beat the hell out of you for 4 quarters. I need to see that from this football team against Old Dominion. So my message to you, please sack up, get on a bus, beat the hell out of Old Dominion, get back on the bus, and go home. And then we have some Bergen County kids coming to play us in Blacksburg in 2 weeks. Take care of business. It is literally all I'm asking you to do. It's not a huge ask. It's really not.
This should be checking a box. Winning this football game should be checking a box. We have Rutgers coming to town next week. They are going to be good. They are going to be physical. They are coming off a bye this weekend. You need to win this football game. We need to see some leaders of this team emerge as well. Yeah, I think this is we saw what happened last time we went on the road, right? There needs to be a vengeance. There needs to be an angerness and some frustration, and Old Dominion needs to be the recipient of all that.
Yeah.
Like, no excuses. We haven't, as far as like talking about the actual schematically and what needs to happen on the field, we have not said one man's name yet on this podcast today. Kyron Drones. So we can enable Kyron Drones, we need to make sure that Bashal Tootin is getting the ball early in this football game, and he's establishing that he is one of the best players on the field. And then that's where we can start putting Kyron Drones in a position to be successful, moving the ball past the sticks, down the field, slants, crossing routes. Benji, Jalen, Ali, Felton, Steven, all these guys. We don't need to give Tootin the ball behind the line of scrimmage. We don't need to give Jay Lane the ball behind line of scrimmage on a tunnel screen. Just take care of business.
Yeah.
Run the football. Play Virginia Tech football. Open up the passing game, and then just play the defense that you need to do. Do what you did last week on defense. Now, I don't think Grant Wilson or whoever it's going to be is Diego Pavia. He's not. We've seen him already, and he turns the ball over a lot.
We are playing under the lights in the 757 in the state of Virginia to reverse the curse. Boston Red Sox did it. Virginia Tech Hokies can do it too. Why not?
This is not Heinz Field. This is not the JMA Wireless Carrier Dome presented by Acrisure. Like, you need to treat whatever their stadium is called like Scott Stadium and just go in there and throw them around.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. We're moving on to Benny's lines. Get yourself a slice. Anyone with a game day pin at home games is going to get $1 off of their slice. Great adoption last week. We'd love to see it. So make sure for any home games, that means Rutgers, this will be available. Get your game day pin, show it at Benny's, Marzano's over on Draper, and you will get $1 off. So I'll say it. I'm on the Hokies, minus 13.5. And here's what I'll say. I'm not giving gambling advice. I'm trying to remain compliant here. Virginia Tech should win this football game by more than 15 points. We just should. If we're the team that we think we are, that's what should happen. So do with that what you will with your bookie, DraftKings, or FanDuel. Grant Watson, not Grant Wilson, Grant Watson. He's not an All-American in college football, but he's an All-American on Sons of Saturday. Here are his over-unders. Hokies points scored, 31.5. Patrick, over-under.
Over.
Got to be over. Tootin rushing yards, 99.5.
Over.
Got to be over. Hokies sacks, 3.5.
Over.
Got to be over.
I feel like who's the guy, Michael Cohen, in that video? More.
I want to crush them. It's nothing against Old Dominion. And I got to say, I think we do this too often. We get upset when other fan bases get fired up that they beat us. I totally understand them getting fired up. I totally understand them chirping us. I totally understand. Like we signed this deal that put us in a position to get chirped by ODU. We did this. JMU fans that are really mean to you, well, guess what? They're mean to you because they beat us. That's why they're mean to you. We should be upset that we were put in a position to allow these people to talk to you like you're less than. So let's not be less than again. I'm in rare form, Pat.
I've been pretty boiled.
Score prediction 42-10. I'm serious, Pat. If we have to get on here and record a post-win podcast and we're looking at like 28-17, 25-14, I'm going to be upset. I'm not going to be happy. And I don't think that's going to happen. And I hope I'm proved right.
I hope you're proved right, Billy Ray. I have Virginia Tech winning this football game 33-10.
I will be upset.
And 33-10, like when I look at that score, I think slow first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Would love to be proven wrong. Would love to score 42 points. Like our mustachioed friend over here suggested. Go out there and prove me wrong. I want to see it.
Letters from the lunch pail. We had a double dip from Common Make. Common Make, I really need you to tweet us and tell us what that means. I
think it's for make common sense. Like I think he's a pro common sense guy.
Maybe we do MCS because Common Make is a tough read. But I appreciate the participation and the engagement. He says, all right. So we know how bad our first halves have been. And last year we only had 2 points in the first quarter versus Old Dominion. That makes me want to throw up. Is Norfolk the place to break our curse and finally shake off the pregame cobwebs? Jennings needs to come out firing. I hope so, dude. I'm like ready to go play a football game right now. I said this on the post-Marshall game. This is your last get right game. This is your last opportunity to go up to the whiteboard or chalkboard and circle, this is who we're going to be. This is what we need to look like. This is what Virginia Tech football needs to look like in 2024. That formula needs to be figured out right now. It's almost like that scene in The Hangover where they're about to tell the chick they're not going to make the wedding. And then they're like, dude, Doug's on the roof. We need to go get Doug. Doug's on the roof for this game. You need to go get him off the roof. And when you get him off the roof, we can play the rest of our games. Go get Doug, go get the convertible, and let's start driving to the wedding, which is the rest of our football season. And that starts right now.
So you're telling me that if we don't win this football game, Average Joe's is closing its doors forever. You got to beat Globo Gym.
What is this? This is probably what you haven't seen.
You've never seen Dodgeball?
I haven't in a long time. I saw Dodgeball. They played it on the bus when we were. I know they played it on the bus in high school when we went to. I know they played it on the bus when we went to go play a football game in Ohio when I was in high school, and I fell asleep halfway through it. But I'll go watch it again.
You give me a hard time for some of the movies that I haven't seen, and you're telling me that you don't know a reference from Dodgeball.
You know what?
Like, I mean, how many Halloween costumes have you seen where someone dresses?
I'm just not going to concede that not seeing the movie A River Runs Through It or some other like classic movies is the same as Dodgeball. I'm not going to put those on the same level.
You're also not going to give any examples. So
I just said one, A River Ran Through It. Have you seen that movie?
I gotta be honest. I don't even know. I don't even know what you're talking about. A
Great
river ran
movie.
through
Good
it?
Will Hunting. Have you seen it from beginning
Yes,
to end?
I've literally watched it with you like twice.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. Good. All right. But you do need to watch A River Runs Through It. I watched it with my brother.
All right,
It's a really
here's
good
what we want
bonding
you to
movie.
do. First of all, if you're watching on YouTube, I want you please to like the video and subscribe if you're not subscribed. Secondly, you tell me which is more egregious down in the comments right now. Not seeing dodgeball or knowing a very popular reference or not seeing a river runs through it. That's all we want to know. That is the call to action from this show. Other than beating Globo Jim and saving Doug so he can get married tomorrow.
Yeah.
That is the call to action. That's
Shout outs because I got unlimited sushi. I got to leave for in 6 minutes.
okay. I have one shout out. Should I read it?
Sure.
Okay.
As opposed to what? What else would we do? We type it out.
Okay. So my girlfriend Erin says, "Hey Pat, we need to beat Old Dominion.
We do.
Like there are no excuses for not beating Old Dominion. I don't even know where that is. You guys need to beat them. Please
I don't know where
do
that
not
is.
lose to Old Dominion."
Aaron, great submission. Great submission, Aaron. I don't have a shout out. I'm hoping to just shout out our team on Monday or Tuesday when we get on the post game pod. That's it. Fun pod.
Where are you watching?
So this is my first weekend in Charlotte for College Football Saturday. Unfortunately, you won't be here, but I'm sure it's going to be fun. Probably going to hit some bars, have a good time. But I'm going to be here in Charlotte, in the Queen City. For all of you Hokies that are making the trip to 757, please be safe. Please be smart. Don't do anything that I wouldn't do. Maybe don't do some things that I would do. And also, please check out the event that we have going on down in the 757. Pat, you mind giving us a plug here? I don't have the information in front of me, but you're Johnny on the spot. So
yes,
I'm sorry to pass that off to you.
So today is Wednesday. It is on Friday the 13th. A little spooky.
Ooh.
On Friday night at Aslan Aslan Beer Company. ASLIN Beer Company.
Aslan.
In Virginia Beach. Virginia Tech at ODU. Weekend kickoff party. Sam Jesse will be there on Friday. Welcoming folks. Should be fun. I think he'll do some fun social stuff from there. Maybe. Could be fun. I'm going to be in Charlottesville at a wedding.
Charlottesville rocks. I mean, you'll have fun. Guaranteed.
Hey, no.
Good time.
Family wedding. Can't wait to see everyone.
Great time.
Can't wait to see everyone. The slate on Saturday, not that great. It's not like I'm missing that much.
Yeah, you could have said that about this last week, though, and there was some good football on.
It does suck that the game is on ESPN Plus at 6:00.
I mean, I'm looking at the slate right now. Kansas State, Arizona is a fun game. Alabama, Wisconsin's a fun game. LSU, South Carolina is a fun game. Boston College at Missouri is a fun game. And that actually might be the game. That might be the game of the weekend.
Some of these games sound really fun until they're not fun. Okay. I don't think Wisconsin is going to be within 3 scores of Alabama.
Well, Boston College, Missouri is going to be fun. Oregon State is going to be fun. Notre Dame, Purdue.
You are not trying to sell anyone on Notre Dame, Purdue.
I am, because did you watch Notre Dame play football last week?
Yeah. Why do you want to watch them play football again after that?
That's a good point. There's a number next to their name.
It is a charity case, the fact that they are going to Columbia, South Carolina for this game, for game day. Like,
I think the game of the week is probably Boston College versus Missouri.
Yes. So it's not that great of a week. Granted, every week of college football
is
better.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gift and better than every week without college football. It's like a bad day of fishing. So enjoy the games.
Pat Finn, avid fisher.
Dude, I feel like I look like a fisher with this hat on.
Guys, I'm going to go crush some California rolls and some eel. By the way, if you're sleeping on eel rolls, you need to wake up. And we will talk to you hopefully after a resounding win. Arizona State, Texas State is going to be fun tomorrow. 7:30 ESPN.
I
Get
thought
your
Kansas
get
State was
tuber.
playing Arizona State. No?
No, Arizona. Kansas State is playing Arizona at 8 o'clock on Friday.
Okay. Okay.
So stay
I
safe.
hope
Enjoy the games.
I hope that first half of BC Mizzou is exciting.
Me too. Yeah. I hope the whole thing's exciting.
Go Hoke.
Go Hokies.